Good morning. Big, beautiful, hot day here in the Southwest. I mean, it's hot as hell. I was thinking today, walking the dogs, having my coffee, I was like, well, we're in for a long, hot summer. And it sounds like an 80s movie, but we are. And growing up here, what I've learned is that to survive summer, you have two choices, purple skin or you live at night. So I'll start living at night, which also sounds like an 80s song. It is, right? Maybe. Who is that? That's a Dio song, maybe? I speed at night. Yeah, that's it. So I'm excited about today's video because since we're seeing all this new talent on pros, it's so cool for me to see these staples return to the app and to see the new blood and to see my news feed and see just how seamlessly they blend together. Because good writing is ageless. It's timeless. Reading these two brought me back to a certain day on the border of Mexico where I woke up just twisted, spun out, all those euphemisms to describe a brutal hangover. And I think it was December of 14. I woke up, I looked out my window, I was staying at this inn, and this beautiful winter day. It was warm, cacti mountains, blue sky. I reached over and grabbed my phone, and I texted a poem with my thumb to prose. And it's called Poetry is Dead. And it brought me back to all this, but it made me really, really jazzed on the future because all of this is going to be so much better. I mean, it already is. And once the mobile apps arrive to make one big platform, it's just going to be magnanimous. I cannot wait. And so I'm going to close the video out with that. But first, I want to jump into this. Now, when I sat down today, this browser was open and it was right where I left off. The first thing I saw was this, and my eye went right to here. And this is from our weekly challenge. And it's basically saying, when someone asks you, what do you write? Describe your writing to me. You answer them with your entry. And so this is Dave K. And it says, I guess it's a bit like fucking. Give it all the hell you have in the moment of inspiration, but you know you could have done so many things better if the goal was perfection rather than getting lost in the moment. Well said, Dave. I mean, really, really well said. So let's go to this challenge. Look at this, 72 entries. You guys, that's pretty good. Still time to enter. And it is a democracy this time, so I just get to read and report. But let's see who's out in front. Sounds like a horse race, like Kentucky Derby. Not to gamify it it's $25, right? Well, for someone like me, that's a good night out, but I'm cheap. Well, I'm a cheap date, not a cheap person. Why did I have to fucking clarify that? That's weird. That's just weird. Anyway, I'm not surprised by this, or this. I expected Ferryman to be, I love this writer. This is a great profile. And Mazzy as well. I'm going to touch upon Mazzy here really fast when I come back to this, but I just want to see who else is still here. Okay, the Wolf Den, of course, last month's winner. BJ Lecrae. Cool guy. Really cool guy. Okay, here we go. Mazzy. I want to talk about user challenges and just how some of them are so damn good. And I was talking to our CTO about how do we make them more visible. And I'll tell you why. So this is one by Mazzy. This is simply stated. The great enemy of clear language is insincerity. When there is a gap between one's real and one's declared aims, one turns instinctively to long words and exhausted idioms. George Orwell. In the spirit of being more concise, please inspire me. Submit your most creative entry using only single-syllable words, any topic, any format. Bonus cool points if you can cleverly state your case for polysyllable superiority while adhering to the rule. What a great fucking challenge. And we're not surprised. Mazzy is brilliant and just a beautiful writer. So let's look at this. There's Dave again. Don't waste long. I love that singular use of long. Don't waste long on long words. And the Wolf Den, of course. Melvin Buckets. I just love this name. I just love this name. Maybe because I like Melvins and I like Charlie Bucket. Maybe that's why. It's a blend of a cool band and a cool movie. But I just love this name, Melvin Buckets. Absolutely love this challenge. A brilliant mind creates brilliant art. And speaking of which, let's jump into these two profiles right now. This is Shells. And like this profile we're going to jump into next, our CMO reached out to Shells because our CMO has been on the app for years. And we were talking and she goes, hey, whatever happened to Shells? I go, I don't know, but I miss Shells. And I also miss this person too. And we're going to jump into that in 1 second. But Shells, and I can say one of the most memorable characters from that time, right? And now she's back, which made me I was really, really happy she was back. And it's so good to see her again. And talk about just a beautifully bright and dark mind and a bright and dark heart. She was Tennessee and Virginia. You could see it in her smile, drifting in and out of here and there. A mushroom haze of mental health, one trip away from skipping out on life and love and music. But this hotel room smells like weed and sex, and we're both too lost to understand. Just, yeah. So good to have you back, Shells. So this is my first reintroduction to Shells being back. I was tagged by Mamba in here, and I was really, really stoked. So the ghosts inside of me, I just love this. The unknown on the radio and her sober eyes staring into the wasted depths of my soul. We both knew we would fuck, if not tonight, some other time, in some other town. Lots of fucking on the app today. At least someone's doing it. Let's see. This last line. We fell asleep to Cobain, her guitar-scarred fingers stroking my skin. That is flawless. Listen to the beauty, the beats, the consecution, the sounds. I love this sentence. Yeah, her guitar-scarred fingers stroking my skin. So Shells, welcome back. You're not going anywhere. You leave again, we'll find you. Next up is another writer who disappeared and now she's back. Largely in part to our CMO saying, hey, what happened to her? I'm like, I don't know. But so like this writer, Dave K, Shells, a lot of them were just the core group, like our Discord now and like the new blood on the app and all these people. It's so cool to see this again just come together. And this is a life with art. In my opinion, there is nothing more beautiful or tragic than an artist's mind. That is perfect. And she's a beautiful person. I have had the pleasure of talking to her. And she's multi-talented. If I remember correctly, she paints. This is a poem called Moodling. Shapes fall behind the shadows of your yellow room. Many cloud bursts screaming. Beyond the sleeping moon, I stand before you now, hung high and crucified. Pillaged by fantasy, pillaged by choice. The animals will pounce, biting deep and purifying my blood. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Boom. So I think that, I think our CTO must have hearted that, but I would have hearted that in a second. Hearted. What a funny time we live in. Man, I hearted so many things last night I could barely sleep. Love matured into dandelion white. Dandelion white. I love that. White bridge. He gritted his teeth around his cigarette as he squinted at a falling star. That's a good opening. That's a good opening. Just the color of her lines. The smell of tragedy. Yeah, Massey's right, this is heartbreaking. I read this on my own profile. This is beautiful. Follow a life with art. Follow shells. My thoughts have not changed since this day, and this is almost 10 years ago, and I feel the same way about prose, even more strongly. Poetry is dead. Dead my ass. Poetry never died, just the poets. And even back when the genre was hot, only a handful broke the mold. In bed reading prose, and thinking about the famous phrase, whether used bitterly or ironically for gain, poetry is dead. Lying here in bed, reading some damn good poetry by unknowns. Lying here minutes from Mexico, the mountains out the window, cold and bright with sun at their peaks. The sound of the street coming alive with tourists, thoughts of coffee, of poetry, the new poets reaching for me, touching me through a screen on a phone. Bookstores down there still sold out of Cummings, Eliot, Plath, Neruda, Frost. Bukowski's corpse still raking it in. The magazines and online presences of poetry. The new blood I read on prose. The novelists, scribblers, storytellers, bloggers, beginners, professionals, old and salty writers pervasive across genres. And yes, the poetry, as alive as it ever was, or more. New writers cropping up with just as much to say as the heroes, or more. The mountains out there breaking through the low clouds, reaching through haze, to touch new light. Let's see. Look at that, Dave and a life with art. Boom. How cool is that? Just a quick, one more time, thank you and welcome back. And to this multi-talented creator, thank you for being back. And that's going to do it. So as always, thank you for being here. And I will talk to you in the next video. Take good care.